What if I told you that the most important scientific discovery of the last 200 years came from a man growing peas in a monastery garden? The discovery behind every medicine, every crop you eat, and every genetic test you have ever heard of exists because of one man's obsession with pea plants. But he died poor, unknown, and believing he was a failure. Gregor Mendel's story is perhaps the most valuable intellectual contribution in human history. He never saw a penny. Johann Mendel, who later became Gregor, was born in 1822 in a small village in what is now the Czech Republic. His parents were peasants. His father Anton worked 3 days a week for free for a landowner. Johann was brilliant, and at the age of 11, his teachers told his family to send him to the city for school. But the family was poor, and sending him meant financial ruin. Still, they sacrificed. Johann excelled, but depression hit him hard. More than once, he had to quit for lack of money. His younger sister, Theresia, gave him a dowry, sacrificing all her future security so that he could continue. By 1843, Johann was 21. He had university honors in hand but was exhausted and broke. He joined a monastery not because of a calling but for survival. There he became Gregor. The St. Thomas Monastery was not only religious but also a place of science. It had research facilities, a library, and scientific study everywhere. He tried and failed teacher certification twice. His superiors then sent him to Vienna University for more training. There he studied under Christian Doppler and Franz Unger. Unger showed him that biology needed mathematics. Mendel returned armed with patience, mathematics, and curiosity. The biggest mystery in biology was inheritance. Darwin could only guess. Everyone believed traits blended like mixing paint, but that predicted a world of mushy, average organisms, which was clearly wrong. In 1856, at the age of 34, Mendel began his experiments on pea plants. He chose peas because they had traits in pairs, such as tall or short, round or wrinkled. Peas self-pollinate, but Mendel could cross them as he wished. They grew quickly and in bulk, making them perfect for statistics. For 7 years, he crossed more than 28,000 pea plants, tracking 7 traits and carefully counting everything. He crossed tall plants with short ones. The first generation was all tall, and the short traits seemed to disappear. But when those plants self-pollinated, 3/4 were tall and 1/4 were short. The ratio was 3 to 1, over and over again. The trait was hidden, not lost. Mendel revealed that inheritance was not blending, it was like shuffling cards. Discrete factors, which we now call genes, were passed down unchanged. He discovered 3 laws. The law of segregation, which means each parent gives one factor. The law of independent assortment, which means traits do not affect each other. And the law of dominance, which means some factors hide others. These laws were as mathematical as physics. He presented his paper in 1865. Nothing happened. He published in 1866. Silence again. He had not called it revolutionary, only plant hybridization. The title gave nothing away. Biologists did not understand mathematics. The cell and the gene were still unknown. His mechanisms were invisible and mysterious. He kept teaching and later became abbot. Administration consumed his time. He fought the government over monastery taxes. He died in 1884 at the age of 61, likely from kidney disease. Recognition never came. His obituaries barely mentioned his research. His earnings from genetics were zero. He lived as a monk, and even if his genius had been recognized, profit was impossible. If he had patents, Mendel would today out-earn Bezos, Musk, and Gates combined. His work powers industries worth trillions. He fed billions. Advanced medicine, genetics, and agriculture. The tragedy is that he thought he was a failure. He was never rich, never famous, and only later did the world understand. In 1900, 3 scientists De Vries, Correns, and Chermak rediscovered his laws. Each searched the literature, found Mendel's paper, and realized he had discovered it first. Mendel, once forgotten, became the father of genetics overnight. Everything changed. By 1902, scientists understood that Mendel's work would reshape our outlook on the world and our power over nature. They were right. Plant breeders created new crops that were disease resistant and high yield. The Green Revolution used Mendelian genetics to feed billions and save millions from famine. Medicine explained genetic diseases and began testing, counseling, and even gene therapy. DNA sequencing, genetic engineering, and model organisms all came from Mendel's work. COVID vaccines, cancer treatments, forensic DNA, and modern agriculture are all possible because Mendel solved inheritance. Agriculture, biotech, and medicine worth hundreds of billions, even trillions every year rest on his foundation. Mendel solved life's deepest mystery, but he died in obscurity, supported only by his monastery. His genius was invisible. His reward was nothing. He proved that changing the world does not require money or fame. Discovery can come from anyone, anywhere, with patience, rigor, and curiosity. If you take one thing from Mendel's story, it is that your work may matter far more than you know. Keep asking questions, keep experimenting, even if no one is listening. Gregor Mendel, the monk who asked what if, changed everything. The value of curiosity and perseverance outlasts gold, fame, or money. The next time you eat, take medicine, or marvel at life, remember Gregor Mendel. He gave us the keys to understand life and asked for nothing in return. That is how one person, a notebook, and some peace changed the world.